Today I have a little something special. Got a new unreleased pre-production kit. Doesn't even have a box. This is a very early pre-production version. I don't have a box. Don't even actually have a real manual. I have a 11x17 printout of the manual, but it will be the same. And like I said, this is a pre-production version, so there may be some slight differences in the molding, things like that for the final product. But as far as everything, as far as the way everything looks and fits together, that's all going to be the same. And here is the manual, sort of. It's going to look the same, just this is the pre-press version. Nice art in there. Got your colors. I mean, it's all pretty standard if you built one of the IMS kits before. It's gonna seem very familiar to you. This is all the steps. So it does come with two versions of the head, the face. One has the little chin guard and one doesn't. I think it's an optional build, or an optional, well, an optional thing here, but I'll have to double check once I actually start building. You can see two differences here. So what's interesting is the shoulders are all one piece, well, two pieces together, but they don't, it doesn't look like it's going to have the posability as the usual kits or the IMS kits usually do. So that's something to look out for. But the reason for that is because it has these huge binders on the shoulders. Once I start building this, I'll go through more of these details. This is actually the first time I'm looking through the manual myself. These are some different paint colors. That's not part separation, it's paint colors. I'll have to figure out what these Japanese exclamation points mean using old trusty Google Translate. One thing I do know is that there are two different waist units. There's one for a fixed pose, which has these two pegs, and there's the normal round version, which lets you move the legs. So It looks like it's going to be optional, whichever one you want to use, but yeah, we'll see once I start building it if you have to cement that or not. Not much to say so far. Sorry I'm so quiet, but got some more paints here. This is the legs. This must be the options for either the peg or the static version. Standard IMS type of joints here. So far all of the other kits I've built have been kind of similar, where you wedge two pieces together. Again, this all looks pretty standard from what you're used to. This looks like it's going to be a fun kit to build. All the, well, not all, but most of the IMS kits I built have had the heels. So this will be the first that has the two supports coming out. Looks like a lot of parts for just the feet. They look pretty good. Standard ball joint. Again, it's showing the two versions of the hips. It looks like it's an either or thing, not swappable, but again, I'll have to figure that out later. More of it's the waist armor, it seems. I move on to the arms. Let's see how these things pose. Looks like it does have a little bit of motion here. There's a ball joint, so something's gonna move. Standard hands. So it looks like the shoulder is all one piece, but the arms do go in, and it looks like they're going to have a little bit of movement. But it does look very limiting. And again, this is the reason. These giant binders that go on the shoulders. I'm sure they weigh a lot compared to the rest of the model, so in order to make it stand and not fall over, they have to make some limitations like this. That's my assumption. I think it's a pretty fair assumption. These look similar to the Knight of Gold. Just not as long. It's two different swords. I mean, spides, as they are called in the Five Star Stories world. Now we have the paint color page. Some nice poses here. Well, I take that back. It's all a standard standing pose. This must be photos of the fixed pose version, maybe? But it looks pretty good. I think it's gonna... Yeah, I don't think this is going to be that posable compared to a lot of the other IMS kits. Not that they are super posable either, but they really do look good when they're standing on the shelf. At least I think so. If you don't want to build one of the resin kits, it's a good option. That's the manual. Let's take a look at the runners. So you have 3 sprues of polycaps. They're pretty... doesn't say Auge on it, so it's probably pretty generic. It looks like the same ones that are used for most of the others. This is the same one as the LED Mirage. We're using polycaps. Yeah, I recognize a few of these shapes. This is the hip armor, waist armor, and the weapons. So it's all molded in the silver color. The detail looks pretty good for a plastic kit, I think. Some of these nubs look like they may be a little difficult to deal with, but not too bad. Cool. Two runners for B, the white parts. Got some feet areas here. Those are shoulders, I think. These are all kind of basic parts. Not a lot of detail here to look at, but yeah, looks pretty good though. Hands. Same molding as the LED Mirage, it seems. I think the Knight of Gold also used the same hands, but I could be mistaken on that. I haven't built it in a while. 2 runners for the binders. They're stuck together. So these are pretty good sized binders. This must be part of the internals for the binders. One thing that kind of worries me is these nubs on the right on the edges. Just have to be very careful when cutting those out and sanding, but it shouldn't really be an issue. One thing I want to note is there's going to be some flash on parts that may not be there on the final production model. It's still a couple months till it comes out, so cool. One other white sprue. It's got some leg parts. Part of the head. I know that some people are concerned about the detail. And I have noticed that a lot of builders rescribe some of the lines when they're building the IMS kits, and that's perfectly valid thing to do. Personally, I've never really felt the need, but yeah, there are some mold details that are a little shallow, like these little marks, if you can see it. I'd probably rescribe those, but molding in these little grills look pretty good to me. Some of the chest piece. Here's the mask face. Looks like maybe the top of the head here. can see the detail there. Pretty good. A couple of the smaller sprues. Looks like 2 for the shin armors. And it looks like they gave me, there are 2 of the H. That they may have just put an extra one in. I'll have to double check. But they look exactly the same. I don't think you're going to need both unless it has something to do with these parts. That could have just been an accident, but we'll find out. And let's see. This is, looks like some parts for the binders. Two of those. One for each shoulder, I'm guessing. Reasonable guess, I think. And here is the waist and shoulder pieces. Oh man, a couple of these look like they got broken in transit. It could be a molding issue that's going to be worked out. It's not a big deal, I can fix that. But your kit should be safe from this sort of thing. Remember, mine was in a plastic bag, so that's not normal. You can see some of the discoloring here. I don't know if you can see it on camera. That's part of the pre-production that's going to be fixed later. Not a big deal. Plus, if you're painting, probably won't make a difference anyway. There's like a few little marks on this one, and this is all part of the pre-production as well. It's going to be fixed in the final product. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. It looks like it's going to be fun. So, that's it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'll answer as many as I can. Other than that, look forward to seeing this thing built soon. Thanks for watching.